People will do everything they can to avoid doing the thing they know they need to do, even if what they end up doing is harder than just doing the original thing that they needed to do. I was on Instagram, I believe it was Instagram the other day, and I saw a video of like these middle-aged moms doing this ridiculous workout. And the comments were full of people saying anything but lifting a weight or like anything but going for a run. And it was hilarious to me. I just thought it was funny, first of all. But then it really did get me thinking about procrastination and how so often we avoid doing the things that we know we need to do. And in return, we end up doing something worse. And it's so funny because sometimes we don't even realize that we're avoiding it, and that the thing that we're doing instead of doing it is worse or harder, or at least in the long term, more negatively impacting our lives. And what I mean by this is you look at someone who maybe is incredibly unhealthy and they know that they need to start some sort of fitness habit, but they don't because, it's hard. But as they're making excuses to not say go to the gym, they make excuses like, oh, I need to clean the house, or oh, I need to put in an extra hour or two at work, or oh, I said I was going to read, so I'm just going to read this book instead of going to the gym. And as those things are good, like cleaning your house is good, and doing those activities are good, they're just a distraction that can arguably be harder than doing the actual thing. Like if you know you need to go run for 30 minutes, for example, but you end up just cleaning the house for 2 hours. It's like, yeah, cleaning the house is good, but you only did it because you're avoiding the thing that probably would have just been easier. Like running for 30 minutes may have just been easier than spending 3 hours cleaning the house. And I think that the reason that we do this is because we are afraid of the failure, or afraid of how we might feel if we fail or do poorly at the thing that we're avoiding. Maybe it's, again, just like on the topic of like fitness habits, it could be something as simple as you're afraid that you won't be able to finish the run that you said you're going to go out and do, or you won't be able to finish the workout. And so you end up doing something, again, harder just to avoid the thing that you know that you need to do. And it's really interesting to think about, because the only way that we really grow and progress forward as humans is through trying things and doing the hard things and failing. But if you never allow yourself to fail in the first place, then you can never really grow in the first place. And an interesting thing too is sometimes it feels like we need to do all of these things to progress forward in life. If you're into like self-improvement or personal growth and you're trying to develop yourself and you're at the beginning, it feels like there are all of these levers that you need to pull in order to progress forward. You see these online gurus that are telling you to wake up at 4 a.m. and read and fucking, I don't know, go run a triathlon and do all this crazy shit and start a business, and you're completely overwhelmed. And so you end up not doing any of it because you're afraid of failing at it. And that is in turn what ends up leading you to doing things that aren't as productive and avoiding the hard thing. But the reality of the situation is that most of your problems could be solved by pulling one or two big levers in your life. On the topic of fitness, again, if you're unhealthy and you feel like shit, you don't need to completely change your diet. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't even need to get 8 hours of sleep. All you need to do is just go to the fucking gym. You don't even need a good workout plan or like a personal trainer. You can get some free workout plan online, and it will be better than what you are doing right now. And that's literally one lever that will drastically improve your life. But we get so consumed and overwhelmed by all the information and everything that people are telling us online that we end up doing either none of it or doing something completely different because we are overwhelmed and are just trying to avoid it in the first place, like as a whole. And this is why being self-aware and being honest, like truly honest with yourself, is so important when it comes to any form of personal growth and self-improvement. Because if you can't be honest with yourself and acknowledge to yourself when you are being lazy or intentionally avoiding things or making excuses for yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to call you out. I mean, they might every now and then, but not as often as you need it to happen. And that is why being honest with yourself is so important. So when you do get in those situations where you're like, I need to go to the gym, but I'm going to like clean the house, the voice in your head is like, no, motherfucker, you're going to go to the gym now. And I think that's something that so many people struggle with is they struggle to like master their inner dialogue or that inner voice in their head that's telling them not to do a certain thing. I mean, typically that voice is just telling you that because you're subconsciously afraid of it because it's new and like that's natural. It should feel hard or scary to start a new habit or do anything that you haven't done before. So one, understand that it's natural, and just two, understand that being honest with yourself is the first and biggest step to being better and to being honest or to improving, because if you cannot be honest with yourself, then you can't be a critique of yourself. And if you can't critique yourself, again, no one's going to do it for you. And so you need to do it yourself because it's entirely up to you to carry the boats. No one's going to hold you accountable but yourself. And if you cannot hold yourself accountable, again, like I said before, you will just inevitably go back into that cycle of doing other shit to avoid the one thing that you need to do. I mean, if you really think about it, if you are a creator or you are starting a business or you are just at any point in life where you're, transitioning into like a new phase of life or you're trying to do something more than what's expected of you, if you really sat down and asked yourself, what do I need to do right now to progress this forward? If I could only pick two things, you probably know exactly what they are. But your fear of failing at those things or, just not doing well or them not working out is making you and leading you into the direction of doing all the other things that just are not as important. It's like how much of your time in a day is just wasted doing the small little tasks because you're simply just avoiding the big task. It's like the idea that stress is caused by not doing the thing. And the greatest remedy for stress is by simply doing the thing. Like if you're stressed out about the product you have to launch or the content that you need to make or whatever it is that you need to do, if you are stressed out about that project, chances are that stress can simply be relieved by just doing the big thing that you are avoiding. And like I said before, you're probably avoiding it because you're just afraid of it not working out. And if you never do it, like if you never take the jump, then you can never fail. But if you never take the jump, then you also will never know A, what you need to do to make it work if it doesn't work, and B, you'll just never progress forward. You'll just be in this constant state of complacency, never actually taking the jump because again, you're just avoiding all of the things or all of the big things that you know you need to do. The moral of the story here is that this is simply a wake-up call if you are in a position where you feel overwhelmed or you feel like there's just so much that you need to do. This is your sign to just do the things that you know you need to do. I don't need to break down how to identify those big levers because if you are watching this, you know what they are. Like you know what you need to do to improve. And it's not as hard as you think. It is not hard to go to the gym 4 days a week or read a book every day. I mean, those are super cliche examples of personal growth and there's whatever self-improvement. There's so much more to it. But for the sake of this example, it's not that hard to do it. And chances are the reason why you feel stuck or the reason why you feel like you are not making progress is simply because you are doing pointless tasks or less important tasks because you are avoiding the big levers because you are afraid of failure and it not working out. But let me tell you now that that is the goal. I heard this quote this one time and I'm going to butcher it, so I'm going to paraphrase it, I guess. But it was, losers look at failure as punishment and winners view failure as stepping stones or like learning opportunities as growth. And so if you're afraid, if you're avoiding those big things, understand that failing at those things, if you do, chances are you might just win right away. You might succeed immediately when you take the jump and pull those big levers. But if you do fail, understand that that's good, because when you fail, you know what you don't need to do and why, and what you need to do to change, and where you need to pivot, and how you can improve, because it will show you your shortcomings. So yeah, stop avoiding the things that you know you need to do, because you know you need to do them, and you not doing them is the main reason why you're probably not making progress and growth towards the goal or the things that you have set for yourself to achieve.